come here or I might bite. Here, I am sure. I thought that said before. And come here or I might go. Then come here or I might go. Then come here or I might wait.
Okay, are you going to say Psalm 3?
Psalm 23.
Say it loudly.
There's nothing like it's feeling down in the pastures. It's inside quiet waters.
Let's talk about the sun.
Talk about the sun. Use your foot.
Nick has your stick.
You're gonna point to the sun? He wants to move his stool so he can.
No, he likes the stool.
No, I mean, okay. Oh, you come down. Over here.
This is the sun. It is a very hot star, and and the earth is zooming off it, and that is thing. And it is, and if you'll die. Hi, my name is Rob, and I'm going to say my born in my Bible verse. Then I'm going to talk about the solar system. Now we are 6 by A. Miller. When I was 1, I had just begun. When I was 2, I was nearly new. When I was 3, I was hardly me. When I was 4, I was not much more. When I was 5, I was just alive. But now I'm 6. I'm as clever as clever. So I think I'll be 6 now, forever and ever. Psalm 100. Shout triumphantly to the Lord, all the earth. Serve the Lord with gladness, come before him with joyful songs. Acknowledge that the Lord is God. He made us and we are his people, the sheep of his pastures. Enter his gates with thanksgiving and his courts with praise. Give thanks to him and praise his name. The Lord is good and his love is eternal. His faithfulness endures through all generations. Now I'm going to talk about the solar system.
You're gonna start here or start there?
There's the sun. It's more than 10,008 million degrees. Here's our first planet, Mercury. It might look like the hottest planet in the solar system, but it's not. It's the second hottest. Why is the second hottest? Is because it doesn't have any atmosphere. The sun on that side, it goes off the planet, so it's really cold. The sun on that side is really hot, because the heat from the sun goes to it.
Because it rotates slowly.
Yes. Here is Venus, the hottest planet in the solar system. Why it's the hottest is because it has a very, very, very thick atmosphere. Here is Earth, our home planet. It's the only planet that ever had human being on it that we know of. Why is the only planet that we know of that has human being on it? Is because it's the only planet that has oxygen and water. There's Mars. It's the red planet. And they look like a hot planet, pink planet, but it's not. It's a little bit cold. Why it's red? Because it has lots and lots of the dirt. So it makes the planet look red. And way over there is Jupiter.
Ooh,
Oh.
yeah, way over.
It is the
Yeah, the distances are proportionally
It's the
accurate.
first gas giant in the solar system. If you see a red spot on it, that's a ginormous storm, even bigger than the Earth. It's like a hurricane, but 10,000 times bigger. And way over there is Saturn. You can't even see it. It is the second gas giant in the solar system. It is so cold that you'll die when you touch it. If you're even on the planet. Because you don't have enough heat. And that's all I'm going to talk about the planets.
Rob,
Rob, I got a
what about
question.
that poster?
I did.
Well, can you tell us about the other
Turn
planets
around,
that
look
you
at
didn't
Peter.
talk about? What are those other
And
planets?
there's 3 planets that are left out. Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto.
Why are they left out, Rob?
Because they can't fit in our house.
So what's the difference?
Uranus would be in the yard. Neptune would be at your house, Mr. Simmons. And Pluto would be out your house.
Cloud by Percy Shelley. I bring fresh showers for the thirsting flowers from the seas and the streams. I bear light shade for the leaves when laid in their noonday dreams. For my wings are shaken, the dews that waken, the sweet buds every one, when rocked to rest on their mother's breast as she dances about the sun. I wield the flail of the lashing hail and whiten the green plains under. And then again, I dissolve it in rain, and laugh as I pass in thunder. Proverbs 6, 6-11. Go to the ant, you slacker. Observe its ways and become wise. Without leader, administrator, or ruler, it prepares its provisions in summer, gathers food during harvest. How long will you stay in bed, you slacker? When will you get up from your sleep? A little sleep, a little slumber, a little foldings of the arms dressed, and your poverty will come like a robber, your need like a bandit. Now I'm going to tell you what I have learned about Stonehenge. Stonehenge is 4,000 years old. The people who first used it have been called beaker folk. They hunted and moved a lot because there wasn't enough food unless they followed roaming animals. Eventually, they picked up religious belief. Also, they figured out how to farm so they didn't have to move. It took a long time to build it. It was like this. If your great-grandparents started building something, then your grandparents worked on it, then your parents worked on it, then you worked on it, then your kids worked on it, then finally maybe your grandkids finished it. Some stones are 44 tons, really heavy. One thing about Stonehenge is a mystery. We don't know exactly what they believe or how they use the circle of stones. Maybe you notice these lines here. This is a model of layers of the atmosphere. Now really they're a lot bigger, but this is just a scale model. So let's start with the troposphere, here at the bottom. The troposphere is where airplanes fly, the top of Mount Everest is, and where the clouds float by. All kinds of weather happen here. You can live anywhere in this layer, although it's pretty hard to breathe on the top part of this layer. The bottom part is where we live. It is the ground. Now the stratosphere is the second layer. It is where some airplanes fly. Those airplanes are called supersonic jets. It is also where the ozone layer is. Weather balloons are also up there. Some people think you can go into the stratosphere, but it's really hard. You can't really breathe there. The mesosphere is the next layer of the atmosphere. It is very high up, 50 miles high. It is also the coldest layer, below negative 100 degrees. The thermosphere is the hottest layer, hotter than 1,500 degrees. It is up to 300 miles high. Meteorites headed toward Earth burn up in this layer. They are called shooting stars, but they aren't really stars. Exosphere, I'm not going to talk much about, but what I'll say is it's the highest up, over 300 miles high. It's the beginning of outer space. Satellites and space shuttles are in it.
You can tell we're good Presbyterians because we always have the bulletins.
Do you remember? You don't want to do your memory work first? What do you want to do first?
My other stuff.
Okay, great. We'll give you
I
yours.
don't think that's what I was going to do.
That's okay. There was just miscommunication. Here you go. You want to talk about what first?
Okay. So on your thing, I'm just going to say, it's actually switched around. Put the bottom two on the top, and that's what I'm going to do it. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm going to put this to the side so that you can see. Okay? I mean, so people can see. I don't want you to go on.
Okay. Alright. Hello, my name is Thomas Meredith, and today I will tell you some of the many facts I have learned about Wisconsin. No way. This is a map of Wisconsin. This is the Chippewa River. This is the St. Croix River, the Mississippi River, Wisconsin River, and the Black River. This is Lake Superior, Lake Michigan, and Lake Winnebago. Winnebago. Okay. This is its capital city, Madison, and that is Green Bay. The first people who inhabited Wisconsin were the Paleo Indians. We don't know much about early Wisconsin. Its first governor was Nicholas Petro. Wisconsin was also the first state to celebrate Earth Day. Wisconsin became a state May 29, 1848. Its state bird is robin, state tree sugar maple, and state flower wood violet. Wisconsin's capital city is Madison, and largest city, Milwaukee. Wisconsin is America's dairyland. It is mostly known for cheese and butter. It is also known for turbines and engines, paper and other forest products, hunting, and fishing. Wisconsin's nickname is the Badger State. Wisconsin's main attraction is Lake Superior. Lake Superior is one of the largest lakes in America, as well as the largest freshwater lake in the world. Here's some handout sheets in case you ever have any questions about Wisconsin. Does anybody have any questions?
Are you a cheesehead, Tom?
No.
Why is it called the, what did you say, the Badger
Badger
State?
The Badger State. Because it is well known for its mining, and not because of the badgers, but the people who do that make a lot of holes like badgers and stuff.
Oh,
And
that's
they make them
yeah.
sometimes. So
Not for
they
them.
named it the Badger State.
okay.
Alright. Now I'm going to talk to you about the Grand Canyon. This is a diagram of the layers of the Grand Canyon.
If I talk about it, it'll make my speech too long, but if you can't read it from here, you can come up to it and read it afterwards. And it's, the Grand Canyon is 280 miles long. At its widest point, the Grand Canyon is 10 miles. The average width of the Grand Canyon, at its widest point, the Grand Canyon is 18 miles, and its average width is 10 miles. The Grand Canyon's average depth is 1 mile. The Glen Canyon Dam controls the flow of the Colorado River through the canyon. Grand Canyon National Park was established in 1919. The first European person to explore the Grand Canyon was John Wesley Powell in 1869. The Grand Canyon is located in northwestern Arizona. The Colorado River, which flows through the Grand Canyon, is 1,450 miles long. The rocks in the Grand Canyon are like a rainbow. As you travel down the canyon, different rock layers begin to appear. And when you get to the bottom and look up at the canyon walls, it creates a rainbow. Now, I will ask you some true or false questions about the Grand Canyon. One, it took the Colorado River 1,000 years to carve out the canyon. True or false?
True.
False.
The answer is false. It took the Colorado tens of thousands of years to carve out the canyon.
Trick question.
True or false? Winter at the Grand Canyon includes snow and ice.
True.
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 The answer is true. It is very cold during the winter at the Grand Canyon. True or false? Native Americans live in the canyon.
False.
True.
True.
They lived.
The answer is true. They have lived there for thousands of years and they still inhabit the bottom of the Grand Canyon. True or false? In summer, the bottom of the canyon is cool and humid.
False.
False.
True. The answer is false. In the summer, at the bottom of the Grand Canyon, it can easily reach 100 degrees Fahrenheit. True or false? The Vishnu rock layer is 2 billion years old.
True.
The answer is true. The Vishnu rock layer has been there for billions of years, and you can still go there and see it today.
Wow.
Now I'll tell you my poem and my validators. I will go with my father a plowing by Joseph Campbell. I will go with my father a plowing to the green field by the sea, and the rooks and corvies and seagulls will come flocking after me. I will sing to the patient horses with the lark and the shine of the air, and my father will sing the plow song that blesses the cleaving share. I will go with my father a sowing to the red field by the sea, and the merles and robins and thrushes will come flocking after me. I will sing to the striding sowers with the finch on the flowering sloe, and my father will sing the seed song that only the wise men know. I will go with my father a reaping to the brown field by the sea, and the geese and pigeons and sparrows will come flocking after me. I will sing to the weary reapers with the rent in the heat of the sun, and my father will sing the side song that joys for the harvest's done.
Who wrote that?
I don't know. Joseph Campbell.
Joseph Campbell.
And I picked it out myself.
Good.
It's difficult.
James chapter 3, verse 5 through 12. So too, though the tongue is a small part of the body, it boasts great things. Consider how large a forest a small fire ignites. And the tongue is a fire. The tongue, a world of unrighteousness, is placed among the parts of our bodies. It pollutes the whole body, sets the course of life on fire, and is set on fire by hell. For every creature, animal or bird, reptile or fish, is tamed and has been tamed by man, but no man can tame the tongue. It is a restless evil full of deadly poison. With it we bless our Lord and Father, and with it we curse men who are made in God's likeness. Out of the same mouth come blessing and cursing. My brothers, these things should not be this way. Does a spring pour out sweet and bitter water from the same opening? Can a fig tree produce olives, my brothers, or a grapevine produce figs? Neither can a saltwater spring yield fresh water. And that is all I have in my presentation. I hope you enjoy.
Wait, Tom, I have a question. Why did you choose the Grand Canyon to study it?
Because Manga suggested it.
That's a good answer. He's also because you love rocks. He knows all about rocks.
Hello, my name is Nicholas Meredith, and
Pause. Just want to get this off from behind you. You look more handsome without paper behind you.
I'll be saying John 15, 1 through 8. I am the vine, you are the branches.
You're good.
Oh, I'm
Somebody
not.
help him out.
The one who remains in me.
The one who no.
I am the true vine.
Yeah, I'm the true vine, and my Father is the vineyard keeper. The one who remains in me,
Every branch
in me that does not produce fruit, he removes. And he prunes every branch that produces fruit, so that it will produce more fruit. You are already clean because of the word you have spoken to me. Remain in me, and I in you, just as a branch is unable to produce fruit unless it remains on the vine. So neither can you unless you remain in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. The one who remains in me produces much fruit, because you can do nothing without me. If anyone remains in me, and I in him, he may ask whatever he wants, and it will be given to him. My Father is glorified by this, and that you produce much fruit and prove to be my disciples. Now I will be saying the preamble to the Declaration of Independence. When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal status to which the laws of nature and nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinion of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among the people, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes abusive of these rights, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it, laying its foundation on such form and organizing its power in such way as to them shall seem most likely to affect their future safety and happiness. Prudence indeed will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes. So too all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves according to the customs which they are accustomed to. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same cause, the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Such has been the patient sufferance of these colonies, and such is now the necessity which constrains them to alter their former systems of government. The history of the present King of Great Britain is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations, all having a direct object the establishment of an absolute tyranny over these states. To prove this, let facts be submitted to a candid world. Peter, can I make a pointer?
About the system.
I will now talk to you on the Roman Empire. Rome was the last great civilization of the ancient world. It survived as one kingdom for about 1,000 years, from the time the city was founded to when Diocletian and Maximian split the kingdom. They conquered Carthage and the Phoenicians, Athens and Sparta, the rest of Greece, Gaul, now called France, and Spain, and the Celts in Great Britain. It was invaded by barbarians called Vandals, Huns, and Visigoths about 70 years after the split. The Western Kingdom was destroyed, but the Eastern Kingdom survived. It became known as Byzantium. Byzantium lasted till about 1400 AD, then it was destroyed by the Turks. Here are a few facts I would like to share with you about the overall history of the Roman Empire. The first is the Punic Wars. The Punic Wars were between Carthage and Rome. Rome won eventually, but there were 3 of them. In the first one, Rome conquered Sicily. The second, they conquered most of Spain. And in the third, they conquered this territory up here. The next date is in 49 BC, when Caesar crossed the Rubicon. When Caesar crossed the Rubicon, he pretty much declared war on the Senate and Pompey, the other consul. They had a bloody war, but Caesar won, becoming the first emperor of Rome. The next date is when Octavian Caesar became the ruler of emperor, known as the first citizen. He was also given the name Augustus. Soon after that, Jesus was born. In 79 AD, Mount Vesuvius erupted, killing thousands of people in Pompeii and neighboring cities. The last date I have to share with you is in 284 AD, when Diocletian and Maximian split the kingdom in 2. That's all I have to talk about the Roman Empire. I will now talk to you about the circulatory system. The circulatory system is one of the many systems that function in your body. The purpose of the circulatory system is to send blood and oxygen throughout your body. There are 3 main parts to it. The first is your heart. Your heart is one of the most important organs in your body. It pumps blood throughout your body. Your blood travels to and from your other organs through little tubes called veins and arteries. It carries oxygen from the lungs to the other organs. The next part of the circulatory system are the arteries. Arteries transport blood from the lungs to the rest of the body. The blood they pump is oxygenated and red. Their purpose is to bring oxygen to your muscles and other organs. Lastly, we have veins. Veins move the blood that is not oxygenated from your muscles to your heart and then to your lungs. The blood that is not oxygenated is purplish reddish. When a vein gets cut, the blood is exposed to oxygen, so it becomes solid red again. That's all I have to talk about right now.
What do you confess?
We confess and acknowledge one God alone, to whom alone we must adhere, whom only we must worship, and in whom alone we put our trust, who is eternal, infinite, immeasurable, incomprehensible, omnipotent, invisible, one in substance and yet distinct in 3 persons, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, by whom we confess and believe all things in heaven and earth, visible and invisible, to have been created, to be retained in their being, and to be ruled and guided by God's unfathomable care and guidance. For such end as God's eternal wisdom, goodness, and justice have appointed, and to the manifestation of his own glory. As we believe in one God, Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, so we firmly believe that from the beginning there has been, now is, and to the end of the world shall be, one Kirk. This Kirk is Catholic, that is, universal, because it contains the chosen of all ages, of all realms, nations, and tongues, that have communion and society with God the Father, and with His Son, Christ Jesus, through the sanctification of His Holy Spirit. now going to read an excerpt from a letter written by Samuel Adams to James Warren. Since private and public vices are in reality, though not always apparently, so nearly connected, of how much importance, how necessary it is, that the utmost pains be taken by the public to have the principles of virtue early inculcated on the minds even of children, and that the moral sense kept alive, and that the wise institutions of our ancestors for these great purposes be encouraged by the government, for no people will tamely surrender their liberties, nor can any be easily subdued when knowledge is diffused and virtue is preserved. On the contrary, when people are universally ignorant and debauched in their manners, they will sink under their own weight without the aid of foreign invaders.
Amen.
We need that muscle. Good, let's keep that right now.
I'm now going to solve a system of equations for you. Now, I'm going to show you two ways you can do this. The first way is by graphing it. But before we can graph these two equations, we must first turn them both into y equals mx plus b form. This equation is already in y equals mx plus b form, so I will turn this one into y. I'm going to graph this equation and this equation. We must first find the y-intercept. The y-intercept for this equation is -1. Then the slope. The slope here is 3 over 1. Rise 3, 1, 2, 3, run 1. 1, 2, 3. The y-intercept for this is 3. 1, 2, 3. And the slope is -1 over 1. -1, 1. This is the solution. Y equals 2, x equals 1. And the other way you can solve this is by substitution. For substitution, I'm going to use this and this. Now, if we know that y equals 3x minus 1, we can put that, 3x minus 1, into y. So, 3x minus 1 plus x equals 3. Now I will combine the like terms. X equals 1. If x equals 1, let's see what happens. So there you have it. Y equals 2, x equals 1. Two different ways you can find the solution.
Peter, this is algebra, right?
This is algebra.
He's using the old math.
This is the old math. Graphing it
Your
would be
finger
better.
was there, there were
Graphing.
4x minus
Yeah, I
1
forgot.
I think both
What?
ways,
on my
yeah.
head, it's not funny.
Why was it
Why is it
old?
what?
4x minus 1 works something out there.
I loved
X
that.
minus
It was fun.
1. Oh. Yeah, I rewrote that.
There you go.
Okay.
Great job.
7 years. Oh, it's not right. In a class taught by Papa Nick, we have learned the 7 habits of highly effective teens, which are: be proactive, begin with the end in mind, put first things first, think win-win, seek first to understand and then to be understood, synergize, and sharpen the saw. I don't have time to go over all of them, so I will just go over the private victory, which is the first 3. Be proactive. Proactive people are not easily offended. They take responsibility for their choices. They think before they act. They bounce back when something bad happens. Always find a way to make things happen. They focus on the things they can control and not on the things that they cannot. Begin with the end in mind. Beginning with the end in mind is a mindset in which you are planning and thinking ahead. Thinking about tomorrow, where you want to go to college, and what you want to do in your life. Putting first things first. The first here means the things that you have priority in life, the things that mean to you, the things that you want to do. This first means first, things you do first. So, by aligning your putting first things first with your goals in beginning the end in mind, you get, and being proactive, you get the private victory. An example of first things first is
You can give them these things. Yeah. Are you ready?
I'm already recording.
Yes, that's interesting. I have to cheat and use this Bible here. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom should I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life. Of whom should I be afraid? When evildoers came against me to devour my flesh, my foes and my enemies stumbled and fell. Though an army deployed against me, my heart is not afraid. Though war break out against me, still I am confident. I have asked one thing from the Lord. It is what I desire, to dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, gazing on the beauty of the Lord and seeking him in his temple. For he will conceal me in his shelter in the day of adversity. He will set me high on a rock. Then my head will be high above my enemies around me. I will offer sacrifices in his tent with shouts of joy. I will sing and make music to the Lord. Lord, hear my voice when I call. Be gracious to me and answer me. In your behalf, my heart says, seek my face. Lord, I will seek your face. Do not hide your face from me. Do not turn your servant away in anger. You have been my help. Do not leave me or abandon me, God of my salvation. Even if my father and mother abandon me, the Lord cares for me. Because of my adversaries, show me your way, Lord, and lead me on a level path. Do not give me over to the will of my foes, for false witnesses rise up against me, breathing violence. I am certain that I will see the Lord's goodness in the land of the living. Wait for the Lord. Be courageous and let your heart be strong. Wait for the Lord. And that was Psalm 27. The Listeners, by Walter de la Mare. Is anybody there? Said the traveler, knocking on the moonlit door, and his horse in the silence champed the grasses of the forest's ferny floor. A bird flew up out of the turret above the traveler's head, and he smote upon the door again a second time. Is anybody there? He said. But no one descended to the traveler. No head from the leaf-fringed sill leaned over and looked into his gray eyes, where he stood perplexed and still. But only a host of phantom listeners that dwelt in the lone house then stood listening in the quiet of the moonlight to that voice from the world of men. Stood thronging the faint moonbeams on the dark stair that goes down to the empty hall, hearkening in an air stirred and shaken by the lonely traveler's call. And he felt in his heart their strangeness, their stillness answering his cry, while his horse moved, cropping the dark turf beneath the starred and leafy sky. for he suddenly smote on the door even louder and lifted his head. "Tell them I came, and no one answered, that I kept my word," he said. Never the least stir made the listeners, though every word he spake fell echoing through the shadowiness of the still house from the one man left awake. Aye, they heard his foot upon the stirrup, and the sound of iron on stone, and how the silence surged softly backward when the plunging hoofs were gone. Now I'm going to tell you about the three presidents that were from Tennessee. And the program says also about Virginia, but I'm actually just going to do the ones from Tennessee. The first president from Tennessee was Andrew Jackson. In 1802, Jackson became a major general of the Tennessee Army, though he didn't actually fight until 1812, during the War of 1812. During the war, Jackson's steadfastness earned him the nickname Old Hickory. Jackson was elected the 7th President of the United States in 1829 and served until 1837. He was responsible for the Indian Removal Act, more commonly known as the Trail of Tears. Thousands of Indians died. Jackson also completely paid off the national debt when he was in office. James Polk was the second president from Tennessee. In 1845, he was elected the 11th President of the United States. His term lasted until 1849. Texas had recently become its own state, and Mexico was very upset about that, so Polk began the Mexican War. During his presidency, Polk also settled an agreement about territory out west, ensuring United States ownership of Oregon and California. Polk unfortunately died just a month after his presidential term ended. Andrew Johnson, the third president, was elected the vice president of Abraham Lincoln during the Civil War and president after Lincoln was assassinated. He served as president from 1865 to 1869 and was the 17th president of the United States. One interesting note, Lincoln was a Republican, but Johnson was a Democrat. During the Civil War, Lincoln appointed Johnson as military governor of Tennessee. After the war, Johnson's main priority was to heal the United States and knit the North and South back together. Unlike Lincoln, he did not pay as much attention to the freedom and rights of blacks. In fact, he even opposed laws guaranteeing their freedom. That's the end. The light says higher. There. Pronouns are an important part of speech. Think how annoying it would be if you had to repeat someone's name every time you mentioned her. I threw Emily the ball and Emily caught the ball, then Emily threw the ball back at me. It's much more convenient and sounds better to say, I threw Emily the ball and she caught it, then she threw it back to me. That's why I was excited when I finally got to learn about French pronouns and how to use them with direct and indirect objects. Here's a list of pronouns French use in these circumstances. These are used as direct objects, these are used as indirect objects, and these are used as both direct objects and indirect objects. Nous is substituted for we, vous is the plural form of you, me is me, te is you, le is him or it, la is her or it, les is they, lui is him or her, and leur is they. Awesome. This is an example of the sentence I will use to illustrate how to substitute pronouns for direct and indirect objects. This is the subject. I've written the subject always in green, the verb in brown, the direct object in red, and the indirect object in blue. Je donne le livre à Anne. I give the book to Anne. The French are weird because they put the pronoun versions of the direct and indirect objects in front of the verb. This is the verb. When I change the direct object to a pronoun, I put it in front of the verb. I'm going to change it to le. The sentence now looks like this. Je le donne à Anne. But what if I wanted to make Anne the pronoun instead of book? What if I wanted to say, I give her the book instead of I give it to Anne? I would change Anne to we down here and put it right here. The sentence now looks like this. I can also change both of them to pronouns. We don't say this in English often, but that would translate to I give her it. That's a little trickier. We've been putting the direct and indirect object in front of the verb, but which one comes first? It's very simple. You put your direct and indirect objects in this order. If you use one of these pronouns, it always goes first. If you use one of these pronouns, it always goes last. And if you use one of these, it would go first and last, depending on what your other pronoun was. So I'm using le and lui. So this would be the order of the finished sentence. That's all I have for you today. Okay. I got it.
We have one surprise, right?
Yeah, I do have a surprise.
Do I hand it out now?
Not yet. Bonjour, je m'appelle Sylvie. Je parle français avec ma grand-mère le jeudi et le dimanche. Elle est une bonne prof. J'aime écrire des histoires. La semaine dernière, j'ai écrit une histoire en français. Je n'ai pas fini. Voici l'histoire. Mais est-ce que vous ne comprenez pas le français? Pas de problème. J'ai écrit l'histoire en anglais aussi.
Je parle pas français. That's all.
Anyway, so I'm going to read I'm going to read the part I've written in French. And I finished the rest of it in English in case you wanted to know what happens next. But this is really supposed to be a present for Nick Terry.
Oh, nice, yes.
Mes éléphants. Bonjour, je m'appelle Anne-Marie et j'ai une histoire horrible. Samedi soir, mes parents ont dit Anne-Marie, nous dînons au restaurant et nous voulons que tu regardes ton frère. Oh oui, j'ai dit, vous pouvez me payer 5 €. D'accord, et mes parents sont partis. Mon frère est très bête et j'ai pensé, pas de problème. Et pour 10 minutes, je n'ai pas eu du problème. Et puis, j'ai ouvert la fenêtre et j'ai vu la cirque. La cirque ont passé dans ma rue. Ah la vache, j'ai dit, viens ici, Robert, viens ici. Mon frère s'appelle Robert. Nous avons couru à la rue voir des animaux. Nous avons vu des grandes girafes, des drôles clowns et le meilleur, 2 éléphants. Les éléphants ont été derrière les autres animaux. J'ai couru à les éléphants. Un garçon a conduit les éléphants. Ah, monsieur, j'ai dit, vos éléphants sont très fantastiques. Oui, elle a dit, mais je ne l'aime pas. Je ne les aime pas. Je le lave, je le conduis, je le donne des nourritures, je dois travailler tout le temps. J'ai une bonne idée, j'ai répondu. J'ai un petit frère. Si vous me donnez tes éléphants, je vous vais donner mon frère, non? Le garçon a pensé. Mais mes éléphants dansent. Il joue avec des ballons. Mon frère joue avec des ballons tout le temps. Robert est venu à moi. Est-ce qu'il est mignon? Vous avez raison, il a dit. Voici les éléphants. That is
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, can you sing Frozen in French?
well, I can, but I get off key pretty fast.
Just read that.
All right, well, I want to put all my kids on the spot. Y'all go up there and let us ask you questions.
Yes!
So everybody,
Then I do a good job.
Very
think of it.
good.
You did a great job, guys.
I guess.
Do you want me to go get yours?
Well, and I didn't even look at the.
It probably has a lot of
No,
No, Tom,
you
leave
did
it alone.
You did well, Sylvia.
So we won't take much longer. We're all ready to eat. But I like to make them learn how to be on the spot, and they really did study their stuff pretty thoroughly, even so they know more than what they shared with you. So, yes, you did. So if you can think of one question, we'll just go around the room and just ask one of the kids a question. How's that? So, Mom, you go first if you have a question off the top of your head, or maybe I'll
Okay, let me think. Let me think. Oh, it's
Or
hard.
you don't have to go around the room. If somebody has a question.
I have a question for Rob. Now,
Yeah?
where did you say that Neptune would be relative to this house? Was that
Neptune would be at Mr. Simmons' house.
Mr. Simmons' house? That's right across the street.
Yes.
And that, I honestly, I couldn't remember, so that's very good.
Do you have any questions for Dad?
Oh, yes. I have a question about the math.
Yeah.
In algebra,
Yes.
what are the two ways?
There's actually three.
Okay,
I
what is
just did
what is
two.
the third
The
way?
third one is I can't remember. You
You can
subtract.
solve
You
Elimination.
subtract and eliminate.
Variables?
Move it to the other side of the equal sign and change the sign.
Mhm. You can do
Subtraction
Elimination.
and equation.
Yeah.
I didn't really have time to do all three, so I just did the two easier ones.
Sam, what did you think about Stonehenge and how those big rocks really got put up there? How did that happen?
That was gonna be my question. How were they there? How did they get there? Do they know?
No one knows.
Nobody knew.
Nobody knows. What do you think?
Mystery.
Uh,
I mean, they didn't have big cranes back
They
then,
took-
did
they took animals.
they? Aliens.
Yeah, I thought aliens came up in flying saucers.
They probably took animal skins and twisted it up and then used
Yeah,
that as ropes.
maybe on
Well,
to
maybe they pulled the rocks onto the skins and dragged it along, or maybe they used boats, or maybe
It
they
was
used
44 tons.
they could use logs.
So there's another place in the world that has strange stone formations. And I think it's Easter Island, which is off the
Yeah.
coast of
Yeah.
Chile.
Oh, and it was in England. It's in England.
And Stonehenge is in it.
Let's see.
Oh,
Tom, what was the most fascinating thing that you learned about the Grand Canyon?
Well, one of the most fascinating things I ever learned about it was that the Grand Canyon is one of the biggest examples you'll ever get of kind of weather wearing off rocks. Because really it wasn't just the Colorado River, it was snow, hail, rain, sleet, and wind also. So it's one of the biggest examples you can get of the erosion.
Wow.
All right, any other questions? You're welcome to.
Could I ask a general question? What is y'all's favorite subjects from right to left?
Our writer, you're right. Oh, okay.
What do you like to study, Rob? What do you like to learn about?
I like to learn about the planets.
Plants.
Great.
I would actually probably be math.
Mine would probably be reading.
I really like history and language arts, and but more ancient history than like modern history.
Geology, most definitely.
I like science, anything science, and I also like English. And French. I like both languages equally.
Right.
What do you place music in, and the things that you like to do, learn?
Oh, it's way too fun to be called a school.
Okay.
Yeah, same here.
What
Yeah.
about you, Peter? Music?
Not same here.
I'm in the choir, so.
I know that, but I mean, where do you call that fun rather
Yeah.
How about being in the plays? Let's see, we had Little Taylor and we had,
Jonas.
yeah, and you were in a play back last fall or something?
Yeah, I was in Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat.
Yeah, all three of you, yeah.
And
You like being in plays?
Yeah.
Not really.
Sylvia, I got Sylvia, I was trying to remember my French, and which there's not anything to remember. But when you say like "I love you," don't you use a different? It's use the T with
Yes, you
I mean-
say je t'aime.
If that's an endearment, but if you like somebody, you just use the other way or something. Or Tim. If I like you,
That's a good question.
you don't use the. You use the different.
Familiar use.
That's right. Sylvia, can you explain that? That's kind of a real hard question.
Would it be
Give it a
je
try.
vous aime?
Yes, it would be. Je vous aime is the formal use of vous, which you, if you're not, you would use te with someone very close to you. Because that's with a family member or your fiance or someone like that. But you would say, je vous aime bien, I like you very much. But you would probably use vous, except if you were talking to a child, you would always use the tu form, which is
So like vous and tu, they're the two forms of you. Vous is plural, and it's also like to signify respect.
Yes.
That's what I thought you were getting to there when you
Yes.
first started. The difference between the
Yes,
endearment
I didn't,
and,
yeah.
and just like.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right, and you can add bien, which is well, to mean I love you well, but not I love you, like you would say je t'aime, like you would say to your wife.
Okay.
You would say je vous aime to Allison. So, or you would say je vous aime bien, because that means I really like you, instead of I love you. But that's, we have like and love.
You know, the
And they
jokes,
So the French
jokes
doesn't
in
have like and
French.
love. It just has
It just
love.
says yes, and
So when
if
you
you
use,
want to
if you
say
vous and
like,
you use
you can
vous.
add bien, je vous aime bien.
Okay.
Or with a child, I guess you'd say je t'aime bien, because you always use the familiar with children, and they use it with each other.
Stop it.
When they need trying their patience.
All right. Well, you guys are definitely the timer's ticking. You,
Yeah, you better ask quick questions because their be still energy is gone.
if you have any more, if people don't have any more questions.
T-Rex, how big is the sun? Bigger than big?
And really
Huge.
hot.
Is it hot or cold?
Hot.
Hot. Hotter than hot?
It's one thing you never look at. You never look at
Yeah,
this.
there's
If you
They have
look at it, you
waves
get
to come off
hot.
the-
I've looked at it.
No, not
If you
with.
think about it, you
If
get
you look
hot.
directly at the sun, you will be blinded.
I looked at the light directly at the sun for 1 minute.
You did not.
I did too. I did too. Those glasses from Scout
Yeah, I think it affects.
That's not directly.
What?
What letter?
No, that's
Samuel
through
Adams did he
sunglasses.
do?
That doesn't count.
Samuel Adams to can't remember exactly. Like John. I'll see if I can find
John or something, I think.
What are you looking for, Peter?
the letter that I had.
Yeah, Samuel Adams wrote that to somebody. Here it is.
Well, no, but I want to find. Oh,
Yeah, Dad gave us this book.
it should be like.
need some things
from
that you
Sam
told me about.
Adams to James
Jesus,
Warren.
like from
You've
Lord.
done great.
James Warren?
It's just this paragraph.
So I'm gonna just be sticking to easy things.
Which paragraph?
Yes, you use
Oh,
some
I got the glasses
complicated
off.
things.
Glasses off.
And you studied 7 famous Virginians?
Sylvia.
Sylvia and
But
Peter
it
both
wasn't
were in
really
the
doing.
state
She
history.
wasn't really doing.
Yeah,
She did
um,
the Tennessees.
I was in, me and Peter were in Virginia and Tennessee history class, and I did learn about a bunch of famous Virginians, but I chose to only talk about 3 famous presidents, 3 presidents from Tennessee.
How many are there from Virginia, do you remember?
7
Okay.
Presidents.
How many presidents?
from Virginia. Wasn't there 7 and then 3 from Tennessee in total?
Yeah, a lot more in Virginia.
But there's a debate on whether there was any presidents from Tennessee
You're right.
because South Carolina likes to claim all of them because most of them were born in South Carolina.
But they moved to Tennessee, so
Technically,
they were little bitties.
Sylvia, I think I'm right on this, you can correct me. You can look this up later and see if I'm correct. The only U.S. senator to have served both Tennessee and Virginia. The only U.S. senator who was a U.S. senator from Virginia and later from Tennessee. And then I think later, did he become governor of another state? I'm not sure about that. So, Sam Houston.
Sam Houston.
Yeah.
And then he went on to
I was
I guess he founded Houston,
thinking
Texas,
about
where they named it after him anyway. He moved to
Because I
Texas.
remember when I was, when we had to write this paper on 10 people from Virginia and 10 people from Tennessee who are very influential. And I was like digging up things from encyclopedias because I couldn't find enough people. And I thought about counting Sam Houston on both spectrums. Just like copying and pasting the paragraph twice. Because he was from both, I would say. But I used him for Tennessee because, yeah, but you're right though. He was,
And there's this huge statue of Sam Houston. If you on Interstate 45 between Dallas and Houston, I guess it must be when you get closer to Houston. And I guess it's Sam Houston University is there. So it's huge, I mean, it's like 100 feet high.
because that's 3 states he was like really
Isn't
involved
there
in.
like a
Virginia,
highway?
Tennessee, and Texas.
Right.
And he was like really wound up in all 3 of those states.
Here, come back here. Which highway is called the Jackson Highway? That goes through an Indian town and they renamed it and went the speed limit up 15 miles.
Oh yeah. There's this highway called the Andrew Jackson Highway, and for a short space it passes through a little Indian village, and they renamed it because, you know, Andrew Jackson wouldn't have been very popular with the Native Americans. So they got permission to rename it, and they raised the speed limit too.
And he was also known.
Throw a spear and kill them.
What'd you say his nickname was? Andrew Jackson?
Old Hickory.
Yeah, but he also, the Indians had another nickname for him, didn't they? Bloody something or
They,
other. What was it?
I don't remember.
Yeah. Because he
But
made
you're-
it like him.
Trail of Tears.
Yeah.
I knew
We'll
it.
keep asking them questions while we eat. We'll take a few minutes to ready. Good job.
Oh, everything.
Once you go upstairs in the hall and look at Seth.
It beeped like 5 minutes
So
ago.
where did you pick up your French?
I had 3 years in high school, and the last 2 years, I think the last 2 years was one of the girls that was in my class's mother, so she treated us all.
She treated
So we mostly talked and gossiped, but she was very nice. She told me one time, she said, this is what we talked about in French class.